Okay, so if you're planning a move to Oceanside or just seriously considering it, this video is for you. I'm a relocation specialist. I help buyers from Utah, Arizona, Seattle, New York, Denver move to Oceanside, and I've had a front row seat to see what are the things that catch people off guard. I'm not talking about the big obvious things, but I'm talking about the small things that after people are here for a while, they start to understand. Not the big obvious things, but the small specific tactical things that come up again and again once buyers are in escrow and just about to move here. And those are things that I wish I would have talked to them sooner about. I'm Megan Myhouse with My House Realty Group in Pacific Sotheby's. Let's get into it. Number one, the marine layer is real and it catches people off guard. The first thing I want to share with you is something that seems a little trivial, but it matters more than you think. If you're coming from somewhere inland or somewhere where it's sunny all the time, this is definitely something you're going to have to get used to. From roughly May to July, what we here like to call May gray and June gloom, the marine layer rolls in early in the morning, and sometimes it clears off by the afternoon, and other times it sticks the whole day over the coast. I've had buyers come visit Oceanside in February, had 3 beautifully sunny days, buy a house, and then months later come to me and say, what happened to the weather we thought we were buying into? I want to set an honest expectation. Oceanside has amazing weather. Mild summers, warm winters, and almost no humidity. But the mornings in late spring and early summer can be cloudy and gray, and it can seem like a bait and switch if you're not prepared for it. The marine layer is a little nuanced though. The further east you get from the beach, the less May gray and June gloom you're gonna experience. In fact, areas just by the coast, downtown, South O, you're definitely gonna experience that. You're also gonna see it in Fire Mountain. Even though we sit up high on a hill, you're gonna be looking out towards the coast. Areas in Rancho de Oro, Arrowood, and further east into Oceanside, you're likely not gonna feel very much of this at all. You're gonna tend to see more sunshine in the east than those neighborhoods that sit closer to the beach in the west. So if you're somebody who genuinely needs sunshine to feel good, this is an important thing to consider. You need to think about the microclimate and how it's going to affect you. So if you're someone that genuinely needs sunshine to feel good, and listen, my husband is like this, so there is no judgment there, you're gonna wanna consider neighborhoods and microclimates before making a decision on where you buy in Oceanside. It's not a conversation that most agents are gonna have with you, but I think it's a really important one. Number two, your commute will look different than you think. This is the difference between what buyers specifically think the commute is going to be and what it actually is. Buyers relocating to Oceanside fall into one of two groups. Group one, people moving from Los Angeles and the Bay Area. And they look at the distance on a map and they think, San Diego, no problem. There's gonna be no traffic. I'm not gonna have to deal with anything like what I've dealt with before. And relatively, they're right. Saying the traffic is better than LA is a low bar. And the 5 freeway heading south to San Diego in morning traffic is still a commute. If you're working in Sereno Valley, UTC, or downtown San Diego, we're talking about a 40 to 55-minute commute, and that's without any accidents. That's relatively manageable, and people do it here every day, and they love living here. But I want you to understand what the commute time really looks like before you move here, not after. The second group makes the opposite mistake. They look at a map and think San Diego is close. Then they realize it takes 35 minutes to get to La Jolla, 40 to 45 minutes to get to the airport, and if you want to get to Encinitas, at least 20, and Del Mar, 25 to 30. I want you to know these drive times ahead of time so that none of this is likely a deal breaker. But I want you to have some accurate drive times in your head instead of just looking at Google Maps and thinking everything is super close by. Here's my practical advice. If you're moving to Oceanside and you have a commute, do the commute. Try it out. Try it out during rush hour on a Tuesday morning. That's going to tell you so much more about what the traffic actually feels like than looking at Google Maps. Number 3, the price gap between Oceanside and its neighboring cities is real, but there's definitely a trade-off. I want to talk specifically about price difference between Oceanside and its neighbors to the south. Oceanside is consistently the most affordable city in North County, San Diego. And we're talking a very meaningful gap. $200,000 to sometimes more than $400,000 difference between Oceanside and Carlsbad, and even more if you're considering Encinitas or Del Mar. For buyers moving out of state, that gap can seem like an obvious decision. Why would you pay more money for just a city name? And honestly, that's true for a lot of buyers. You typically get more house and you get bigger lots. And a lot of homes here in Oceanside don't have an HOA. And you're still just minutes from some of the same beaches, the same coastline, and able to live the same North County lifestyle. But here's where I want to be honest about the trade-offs, because there really are some. Carlsbad has a more polished downtown and a generally more manicured character in most of its neighborhoods. Some school district boundaries matter to certain families. And the resale market in Carlsbad, Encinitas, and other areas further south has been extremely strong. I'm not here to tell you that Oceanside is the best fit for everyone. What I am here to tell you is some buyers who stretch their budget to get into Carlsbad and Encinitas zip codes end up getting less house and end up spending several years house poor in a city just to get the name. Know what you're actually buying. Walk the neighborhoods. Compare different streets. That's where you're gonna make the best decision for you and your family. Number 4, don't shop for neighborhoods on Zillow. Shop them in person. I say this to almost every out-of-state buyer who calls me and wants to talk about neighborhoods. You have to come see the neighborhoods for yourself. I say this to almost every out-of-state buyer that I work with. It's so important for you to come see these neighborhoods in person. You can't shop neighborhoods from a screen. But I understand why you try. Maybe you're in Dallas, maybe you're in Phoenix, and you can't just hop to Oceanside on a random Tuesday. So you do what you can. You look at listings, you watch YouTube videos, and you read neighborhood reviews. But that, unfortunately, does not give you the complete picture of the neighborhood. And here's why. Oceanside is a city where 2 streets a quarter mile apart can feel completely different. If you would walk the western streets like Laurel and Avocado and Fire Mountain, where you have views and it's quiet with more space between houses, is entirely different from the same neighborhood over by Sarbonne and Cornish, where homes are a little smaller, a little closer together, and you have more neighborhood than ocean views. The downtown area near the pier has a completely different energy than if you went back towards the back of Camp Pendleton to the neighborhood of Arrowood. Down Street and Fire Mountain carries through traffic, while smaller streets like Bailey and Portofino don't see the same type of traffic coming through on a daily basis. And the 76 corridor has a much different feel than the neighborhoods that sit high above it. And none of that shows up on Zillow or Redfin or Realtor.com, and none of that shows up in the listing photos. You can look at square footage and price per square foot all day, but it's not going to compare to what you're going to feel when you stand in the front yard of a home you're about to make an offer on. And here's my expert advice. If you're strongly considering buying an Oceanside, make sure you come visit the neighborhood and the house prior to writing any offer. And don't make the trip just to see one house. Spend a morning in Fire Mountain. Drive through South O in the afternoon. Go down and grab a coffee or a glass of wine downtown Oceanside. Go on a weekday so you can experience the marine layer. Drive at rush hour so you can feel the commute. And go to a local restaurant and talk to some of the locals. And that one trip will make more for your decision than spending 3 months scrolling on Zillow. And if you want somebody to drive you around that knows the neighborhoods, call me, because that's exactly what I do, and my information is in the details below. Number 5, the home insurance conversation needs to happen before you get in contract. And the last one is one I wish I didn't have to include, but I know I do you a disservice if I left it out. And let's talk about insurance. California's home insurance market is generally in a crisis now. Multiple big insurance companies have pulled out of the state entirely. Others have significantly reduced the number of policies they're willing to write, increased premiums, and changed the requirements around roof age and wildfire risk. If you're coming from other areas of the country, you're probably used to a competitive home insurance market and one that is straightforward. California is neither of these. And here's what that means practically. I have had buyers get under contract only to find that it was going to be very difficult to find reasonably priced home insurance. And that has made the deal so much more stressful. Now you're emotionally tied to a home, timelines are set, your loan is attached to it, and you're scrambling to find insurance, and it's a problem you didn't know you were gonna have. I even had a buyer buy a home in a flood zone that had a 1% chance of flooding in 100 years. They had to get additional flood insurance, and their initial quote was twice their normal home insurance quote. It caused a lot of stress and a lot of problems until we were able to work it out and get them something reasonable. The solution here is simple, and it might feel a little backwards, but talk to an insurance broker prior to writing an offer, not after you find the house, before you do. Get a general sense of what coverage looks like in Oceanside, determine what affects insurability, and see what a realistic premium is for the price range you're looking in. This conversation costs you nothing, but it could save you large amounts of stress down the line. Here's the good news for Oceanside. We're a coastal city, not a high elevation wildfire area. And that actually works in our favor compared to a lot of other markets in California. But you're gonna need to give it more attention, and if you're coming from out of state, it's probably not something you're used to giving attention to. This is one of those areas where having a good local agent in your corner can really make a big difference. Because I can connect you to brokers that know the market, understand what underwriters look for in Oceanside, and can get you answers really quickly. It's part of the process that I walk every relocation buyer through now, because I don't want you to have the stress and the worry of not having the proper insurance at the proper price when you need it most while you're in contract. So to summarize, the 5 things I wish every relocation buyer knew before moving to Oceanside. Number 1, the marine layer is real, and where you buy in Oceanside can make a difference in how much you actually feel it. Number 2, your actual commute will look different than the map suggests. Do the commute so that you can feel what it's like on a day-to-day drive. Number 3, the price gap between Oceanside and some of its southern neighbors is real, but buy the streets and the neighborhood and not just the city name. 4, you cannot shop Oceanside neighborhoods on a screen. Make sure you come out and visit the neighborhoods first before deciding to write a contract on a home. And 5, start your home insurance conversation early. before you get into contract, because the California insurance market is not what you're used to, and you don't want to be stuck without insurance when you're in escrow. None of these things should scare you about moving to Oceanside. In fact, the buyers that already have this information have a much smoother transaction in buying here than those that don't. And almost without exception, they're gonna wonder why they didn't make the move sooner. If you're in the research phase and you want someone to give you an honest answer on what it's like to live here, the neighborhoods, the commute, and other important information before buying here, that's exactly what I do. My contact information is in the description below. And if this was useful, please subscribe. I make content like this every week for buyers relocating to North County and Oceanside. No fluff, just the honest answer so you can make sure that Oceanside is the right place for you. I'm Megan Myhouse. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.